Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for watching. Hope your week's been very good and amazing. Continuing on with my unlab look of the OnePlus Buds Pro. Today I'm just going to cover I guess the experience of actually using these and touch on some of the software and how they sound and things like that. Before I do, just want to give a shout out to everybody who has watched, and if you made a comment or if you liked this video, that's really cool. That's amazing, and I appreciate that. And a big shout out to all the peeps on the OnePlus forum as well for your support. It's been really encouraging, and I thank you very much for that as well too. Also, just a quick disclaimer. The Buds Pro that I purchased, as I said, I got them from AliExpress, so they're the Chinese model. So there could be some slight variation maybe in features or software. So it's hard to tell. So your experience may be slightly different. Just bear that in mind. So without further ado, let's continue on. So I've got my OnePlus 9 here, and I'm just going to go through like what's the pairing like. So you got your new buds. I've got Bluetooth on, yeah, and you're pairing them up as it works. So open the case and ta-da! Now bear in mind I've got the latest beta of the OnePlus Buds app installed from the Play Store, and we can see it comes up with a nice graphic. That's pretty cool. And we'll do a connect. It's telling me to press the button, so we press the little connect button. And it's connecting, and then they're connected. So let's get them in my ears. So it's going to be a bit funny, and it's giving you some kind of instructions on the controls, about the pinching, which I mentioned before, the noise control. These are the gestures for operating them. So it gives you all that kind of instructions. The Zen Mode Air, which is interesting as well. Function description and whatnot. So you can see here it gives you the battery indicator as well. Right, so they're connected. So that's that's kind of cool. And just a random Spotify playlist. Later. Okay, so play the music. Now obviously there's a setting, if you take these out to your ear, the music stops. If I put that back in my ear, it's going to play again, which is cool. I could do a pinch for, that's a pause. If I pinch the stem again, that's the first gesture. I can do a double pinch for the next track, as you saw there. So that's cool. If I disconnect them, and I'll put them back in the box. You got the music, and close the lid. And if I was to open the lid again, and you can see they're gonna come up for the connection, and then they're in there. So that's kind of it for like connection and pairing. Now you can manage these via your Bluetooth settings. So within your Bluetooth settings, you got OnePlus Pro, battery life. If I go into that, it's going to tell me about HD audio codec, and then more here. My case needs a charge, because I've been using them a while. Now, the one thing I suppose, which is a bit kind of annoying, is the specs say this supports LHDC codec, but as you can see, like there's nothing there. It's not supported yet on the phones, so it's kind of a shame that it's not there to test and hear any differences in quality of the sound that would make. That's quite unfortunate, and I hope OnePlus releases a software update soon, before people get their buds, so we can have that feature. Otherwise, it's a bit pointless. So we can go into the headphones, and we see here the kind of noise control settings. So you can have noise cancellation. We can turn it off. We can have transparency mode. And these are controlled with the pinching thing, which is a bit strange. But if I do like I'll hold it for about a few seconds or so on the stem, that should change. Alright, so that's noise cancellation on. If I hold the stem again a few seconds, back to transparency. With noise cancelling as well, you get this sort of the smart or noise cancellation max noise. If I'm totally honest, I mean, I'm not really too sure exactly what it's doing. I'm not sure what the difference between, what's noise cancellation versus max noise cancellation. Obviously, this implies there's more noise cancellation. Why would I want the difference if I'm honest? I mean, I just rather want it on and off. I don't know. Smart, I'm guessing, is adaptable, but I mean, I didn't really notice any difference between the two. I think I've used max most of the time. It's probably the better one, but I didn't see anything obvious difference. Maybe it's just me. So yeah, you can change some of the gestures here. So we have like the pinch earbuds handle. Here, but the handles. So what options we got here? All right, the Zen Mode Air. The fit test is interesting. The sound boost, that's interesting. The in-ear. This is what I was kind of saying earlier. So you can enable this function. I mean, why would you disable it? I don't know, but if you take the bud out your ear, it's gonna pause the music. You put it back in, it's gonna play it. You'll Find My Buds, which is just gonna kind of play a sound into the actual earbuds themselves, so you can locate them if you lost them. So I wouldn't do that if you got them in your ears, because it might be quite loud and you're gonna hurt your ears. This is my current firmware for the actual buds themselves. Yours may be different. I don't know. As I said, mine's the Chinese version, so maybe there's a difference in software. And just these are updating updates. Scroll back. So the controls, I said, you can't change this, so at least not yet. So the pinch is a play pause. You can't actually change that functionality, which is a bit disappointing, because then what's the point of having it there if you can't change it? Maybe in a future update we will be able to update it, but you can't. Same with the this one, the pinch twice on the handle. You can't change that, so these are just fixed. The 3 times pinch, so you can change this, but again, you're kind of limited. It's like just previous and voice assistant, and even this one is like previous and voice assistant, so you can't do anything extra fancy. In this regard, I think the Onkos are a bit better in terms of the Hey Melody app, because you can kind of the actual gestures you could change. So if I wanted the left bud to be play pause and the right one to do something else, I could do that. Or I wanted the right one to be play pause, and so on. But maybe down the road there'll be some software updates and they'll enable better features. The Zen Mode Air, I like it. It's actually quite interesting, to be fair, and it's basically like a white noise machine. In other words, it just gives you something to non-disturbing, kind of calm or peaceful, to kind of block out the outside world, and you can focus and concentrate. And I must admit, I quite like that. A couple of days ago, I was doing work. It was a bit stressful, and it was quite handy just to have this and kind of tuning out the world. You do get a couple of different themes for white noise. So you have the warm sunrise, which is like birds in spring singing. It's like forest, kind of meditation is like kind of yoga style or kind of calming stuff. And the seashore is like sea sounds and whatnot. Camping is like a fire, and it's a nighttime scene in woods. And Iceland is kind of like a similar kind of outdoors thing. What's actually interesting with this is these are actually saved on the buds themselves. So although you manage them on the app, when you pick something, they're actually downloaded onto the buds themselves, which means you can actually use the Zen Mode Air without the actual buds being connected to the phone. And that's kind of cool, because that means you could use the buds anytime to zoning out. The problem with that is there's no actual volume control on the buds. So it's going to go to whatever default level that maybe was there, actually a bit louder, because when I was testing it, I had the volume on my phone initially connected, it was a bit low. I had my phone disconnected. I tried the Zen Mode Air. it was quite loud, and without the phone, there was just no way to change the volume. So it seems like a cool feature, but I think there's some kind of a user experience design miss there, I think, if you can't change the volume with no kind of function. Maybe in the future, again, they'll update the firmware or something so we can do some kind of adjuster for that. But the function itself is kind of cool. There is a weird bug too, like it's playing now. I can actually hear it. Got the earbuds on. It's playing now. And if I like lock the phone, the sound stops. So I don't know what it's playing again now. It's a bit buggy, I think, sometimes with the phone itself. Most of the software is this is still a beta, so there's probably a few bugs in it still yet. So there's some improvement to be done there. Yeah, sound-wise, the sound itself, I'm not an audiophile. I'm not an expert by any means. This is just my own personal opinion, and everyone will be different. But we go back to the Yonkos, all right, the Buds. So listening to music, I listen to some tracks over and over and over and over again until I was sick of them, just to see if I can hear anything different. And I've got the Buds here. We've got the Buds Pro. I got my Onco X's, which are my main ones. Now, I would say, from a sound perspective, like these sound the same. I had one in my left ear, one in my right ear, playing the same tracks at exactly the same time, and listening for any subtle differences. And I didn't really hear anything from a sound kind of quality. They seem on par. They seem the same to me. Maybe even they share some kind of common components. I don't know. But overall, they seem good. I quite like these ones sound-wise. So these sound the same. So that's kind of good anyway. The Buds Pro did seem louder to me. And by louder, I mean just if I had the volume on my phone at a lower setting, these were louder, whereas I'd have to raise the volume more to get the same level on these ones. So that's kind of good. And I don't know these are the Chinese versions as well, but don't know if there's some kind of something in the software. Maybe an EU version will have some kind of limiter on the volume. I don't know, but definitely this is a bit louder. And it kind of seemed a bit bassier as well on the Buds Pro, so that's cool. And I did the same kind of test with the Buds Pro, and compared to the Buds, I thought these are probably a bit more tinier. It's the best way to describe it sounding. So the Buds Pro were probably better than the Buds, but probably on par with the Onco X's from a sound point of view, and that's how I felt about it. But again, that's just my my thoughts. I'm not an expert, but if anyone's tried these, and these are the Pros and these are normal Buds, these are probably a bit better anyway, so that's a plus point. Things like the ANC, for example. So I tried them sitting in my outside where I live in a, I wouldn't say quite a noisy area, but there's a bit like a main road, so you get lots of lorries and cars and things going by. There's a bit of outside noise, people mowing lawns and whatnot. And outside, these did cut down quite a lot of that ambient noise. You could hear less of the hums and things. There's quite a marginal difference, so it's quite good. I would say compare with the Oncos, these were probably slightly better than the Oncos. Like it just cut out a bit more sound. Even sitting in my room with like a PC fan going at full tilt, I put these on, testing it. These drowned out, maybe 5% or 10% more of the sound, it felt like to me, than these. And these are kind of quite decent as well. Yeah, bearing in mind, they're not going to drown everything out. It's just going to be those kind of like rumbling sounds and hums and that kind of ambient background sound that's out there. And so, yeah, it seemed good. It seemed good to me. The pass-through worked, that pass-through. It's obviously not going to be the same as actually taking the buds off and listening with your native ears, but it did a good job. The only thing I noticed was there was a very slight hum. If there was no sound or nothing, you can hear outside, but in the buds themselves, there was kind of like a bit of a humming sound or something, which is probably just the mechanism trying to do its job. But it was decent enough. I tested it with like a Teams call at work. It was fine. It seemed okay. Did a phone call. as a quick test, I was outside, someone's mowing the lawn, and my friend said that I was quite clear. They could hear me, and yeah, they didn't hear any background noise, didn't hear the kind of lawnmower and all that. So that's good as well too, to be honest. That's the Dolby Atmos, just using like Dolby's official website. They have some kind of like a sample testing thing you could do, listen to some sound, and it sounded pretty neat. Bearing in mind it's only supported on certain models. Things like charging. So I've got this cool Oppo VOOC Gundam charger. If you're curious about this, maybe drop me a line. I can talk more about it. This does actually support dash charging. So if you want to charge these buds, plug that in there. Plug that in there. And there you go. That's charging up. They do support wireless charging. Do reverse charge. Well, we should. You can see the light there is charging. Oops. So now it's doing wireless charging. So that's pretty neat as well. That's cool. Yeah, so all in all, a good experience. I mean, I wouldn't say they're perfect, to be honest, for the price point. And it's an interesting thing. I think, if I'm honest, I mean, they're good. I like them. Don't get me wrong. But as everything else used with OnePlus, I think there's just some things that they can improve on. Certainly in the software side of it. There's just some weirdness with the software sometimes. The fact you can't customize every little kind of gesture, and the Zen Mode thing was a bit, funny. Compared to, say, the experience I've had with the Hey Melody app using these, it's a bit more customizable. And bearing in mind that these are like £10, right? These are like a tenner less than this. Okay, so if you're paying about the same price, you kind of want the same experience or more. So if these guys can release these at £10 more and have a better software experience and some more features, then why can't OnePlus? Especially that these guys are actually backing them right nowadays. So come on, guys, or maybe reduce the price a bit more in a more reasonable, I don't know, maybe $129 or something. That's kind of it. The two main gripes I suppose I'd have with these is there's no multi-connect with these. Okay, these and even the buds, you can connect multiple devices. Right? So I can connect my laptop and my phone with these, and then I can do a gesture on the headbud on the buds, and I can kind of say da 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 da, switch to my laptop, da 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 da, switch to my phone, listen to music, switch back to a laptop, take a call. Which nowadays, because of the pandemic, is lots of people working at home and stuff and taking meetings. That's kind of good. And these do the same thing, and it works quite well. I've used these a lot for work and for listening to music and chilling out, and it works great. If these don't do that, you cannot connect these to any multiple devices. It's either one or nothing. And I've tried various tests. I've tried connecting them to like a laptop and then disconnecting, connecting to a phone, and it doesn't. If my phone is off, it didn't connect to the laptop automatically. I had to like fuff about and just kind of repair it and all that. So that's quite a loss of function when you consider that the buds themselves, which are the entry level, have that functionality, and these are more expensive and are pro, and they don't. And these have them too, and these are £10, more expensive, but for a tenner, you're getting that functionality. So why couldn't OnePlus just add that in here? I mean, come on, guys. The other biggest thing is the fact there's no volume control. I can't change the volume on these. I can't slide it. I can't do anything. So the only way I can change the volume is to use my phone, or maybe if I got the OnePlus Watch or something, I can use that. But again, I can't change the volume. That's not a deal breaker, to be honest. I can live with that. I can use the watch or I can use the phone. Okay, but again, when you compare that these are £10, only £10 more, I can do that too. I can slide these, right? I can slide these on here and adjust the volume. And not only the volume, I can adjust that via the software to say slide is the next track, slide is the previous track. I can do that for both of these. So I've got more. It's like for £10, I got more functionality in the software. I have multi-connect. I have a volume gesture as well. And I don't have that with these. And that's even more important when I said earlier, the whole Zen Mode Air thing. I like the Zen Mode Air thing, but what's the point of Zen Mode Air being on the actual buds right, with no phone, and yet I can't adjust the volume. How do I adjust the volume if it's too loud? Or I want to make it louder to chilling out. I can't. So, like, what's the point again? I don't get it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like them. They're nice. Don't get me wrong. You know, they're probably decent if you never had a pair before. You know, in terms of, say, OnePlus's first, you know, ANC kind of earbuds. Yeah, it's a good start. It's not perfect. Could be a bit better, I would think, for the money. And that's the main thing, I think. You know, when you're paying the same money for these and you're having less that functionality, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't kind of cut it to me to a degree. And that's pretty much it for this. So thanks for watching. Hope you found that useful and interesting. And take care. And cheers. So I just wanted to touch base on a few things I missed here, which was the earbud fit test. So this is just a simple test. It plays a kind of tone in the earbuds, and it just sort of checks that your earbuds are, you know, fitted well, so you can get the best sound. And you just play it, and you know, it's playing a tone. Da 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 da. Now I've seen the same function on the Hey Melody app, so I suspect it's just kind of borrowed from there. And yeah, left is good, right is good. So you know, we're good to go. Listen to music. It's the personalized sound boost. So I sort of deleted my profile just for that kind of a video, but I did it before, and it's basically, if you're doing it, what it does is it's going to play a sound, like a tone, right? And it does your left ear, and then it does your right ear, and it does it in different kind of, you know, degrees of like volume and tones and things, and just ask you, did you hear the sound? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So you go through that, and as you're answering the prompts, you're making up that kind of profile, you know, of where you hear sound and where you don't, in terms of the frequencies. And then based on that profile, it's basically like a kind of, I guess, like an EQ, you know, map of your ear, I suppose. And so then it would, you know, presumably if you don't hear a certain range of sound at a particular level, right, then the profile would boost that kind of tone range, right, in the sound, so you kind of hearing it. So it would tend to make things a bit louder and whatnot. And when I tried it last time, you know, it did make a difference. It did sort of make things a bit more louder, you know, in terms of certain frequencies and all that. Yeah, so that's it's a pretty neat function as well.